So the findings from these case studies can be used to formulate solution. The table below shows the summarized effectiveness of Kaizen philosophy in different fields application, especially in manufacturing industries. So I did a thorough studies on manufacturing industries, on all the improvement they have done to increase their productivity, improve their quality, reduce cost, and improve safety, and also to improve their deliveries. So I have summarized the case studies. It can be seen in my this is okay, research methodology. So literature review was done on Kaizen related journals, and this information is used as a platform to do product development that will help to resolve issues with the non-coding detection of failures. Several DOE was carried out before the nature of the product development was determined. So I did a design of experiment plus with my Kaizen literature review to come out with my final product development. So some of the key things that was noted when I come out with this project. So first thing, unintentional failure of panel coating could not be detected until it reached the final check area before packing. This is when the plate is found to have zero function. So at the final check area before we box the product, there is a machine that check the functionality of the product. That is the final check. So whatever plate that is not being coated will have a zero function. Alright? So this effect was discovered when recent failure on the NPR cost panel being moved without coating. So when we have a zero function, we trace back the process, and then we found out that this machine was not coating due to some issue, and it actually created a zero function issue. In order to scrutinize the mode of failure, research was initiated with the purpose to test various hypotheses that could cause panels without coating to proceed to the subsequent station without any triggering, and based on this verification, a solution was conceptualized as a means of intervention to mitigate non-coating panels. So, we come out with the DOE in order to scrutinize the mode of failure, and based on the study that we did, the solution was conceptualized. So several DOEs were used in order to understand all probable cause for the possible non-coating situation to happen. Once the basic process was dialed in, checkout and pre-qualification was performed on a unit in the plant. So once we have find a solution, we actually roll this out in one machine out of the 24 machines that we have. The reason is we want to have better data and clarity before rollout. So once we roll out in a machine, it took us 3 months before we decided to roll out on the remaining 23 machines. Operationalization of concept. The DOE was carried out by using statistical hypothesis test, confirmative data analysis with the intention to carry out information gathering exercise with the inclusion of variation. In this design of experiments, the effect was induced intervention on the experimental unit study. The result was further confirmed with a repeating test and experiment to get a consistent result. Consistent result is what we look for, because we do not want to roll out something that is good in a day and then after a month we start to see different results.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Did you manage to get consistent result for this Kaizen method?
Yes, we did.
To what extent?
Okay. Once we have, the ultimate idea of this project is to eliminate the non-coating panels. So once we roll out this project, we have been seeing zero non-coating panel. Alright? So the intention is to carry out information gathering exercise with the inclusion of variation. In the design of experiments, the effect of induced intervention on the experimental unit studied. The result was further confirmed with the repeating test and experiment to get a consistent result. The following indicates the parameters that were experimented and tested in order to realize the nature of failure. The hypothesis selected is based on the most probable occurrences. So as I mentioned earlier in my slide, this is where everything comes together. We had 4 hypotheses, and under hypothesis number 4, we have 3 different mode of failures. So we did a test, DOE test, which I'll share the results after this. on these four hypotheses.
Wait. Go back to the hypothesis. Okay. On the fourth one, hypothesis 4, you got encoder, bearing assembly, and
Metering
metering
valve.
valve. Failure on mechanical assemblies.
Failure on they are the bearing assemblies and parts. So under encoder, metering valve, under parts, assembly is under bearing assembly.
That means the total system itself is affected by this process. I mean, eliminating the negative photoresist.
Yes, we know that the panel is not being coated and the panel is being moved to the finishing area, and it's due to the nature of the machine. So we want to identify what is actually causing this to happen. Alright. Our main aim is that when we have a machine, right, no matter what kind of high level maintenance that you do on it, there's always a possibility of it go down. Nobody can in this industry assure that their machine will be running fine 24/7 to 365 days. Alright. Our main aim is to understand the failure and create a system where when we have this failure, it will be immediately triggered to us. We will have a visibility on what is happening. Because as I mentioned earlier, once this panel moves out of this machine without a coating, due to the environment, lighting, right, we cannot see, we need to have a yellow light for photoresist, right? So we cannot see whether the panel is being coated or not. Even if it's going to station an operator over there, she will not be able to tell whether there is a coating or not because of the lighting and the environment. So what happens is that this panel moves to the next stage until it reach the finishing, and that's where we notice that the machine is having a problem. This is what we wanted to eliminate. So design of experiment to check the formulated hypothesis. So for my first experiment 1, hypothesis abnormalities in solution dispensing. The conformity test method is shut off the solution supply at different position. Right. Finding alarm trigger and processing are important when the valve is open quarterly, halfway or closed fully. Conclusion, this indicates panel processing not possible without the supply of solution. So let me go further on this experiment that I did. Right. So earlier on the slide, I just give a high level on the first experiment that I did. So here I'll go further in detail. For the first experiment, which is conceptualized to test hypothesis H1, abnormalities in solution dispensing, the conformity test method that is designed is to set up the shut-off valve of the solution supply in 4 different conditions. As I mentioned earlier, the solution is actually placed in the tank by the machine. So we have a shut-off valve, and every time the solution finish, right? So the operator will move in a new tank of solution, and then they will turn on the valve. So this hypothesis is to test whether the non-coating is because of the valve is not, they forgot to fully open, right? So we want to know whether that is possible to create this. So we did a conformity test method. So we took the tool down and we did this test. First, we set up the shutoff valve in 4 different conditions, right? The tank as the shutoff is normally closed when the solution tank is in place and should return back after the replacement is done. This hypothesis is conceived to study the impact of accidentally leaving the valve closed or not fully open after the replacement of the tank is carried out. This is a condition that needs to be verified as the replacement tank takes place frequently. So in a shift, we will change the solution once. So in a day, it will be two times. So there are 4 possibilities for the hand valve setup. At the same time, in the event of the supply is interrupted, the preceding events could be studied. The conformity test method is done by setting up the hand valve in 4 different conditions, and these conditions are determined by all the possibilities that the valve position that can be toggled. So there's 4 conditions that the valve can be toggled. First one, condition 1, hand valve quarter open. Second, hand valve half open. Condition 3, hand valve fully open. Condition 4, hand valve fully open. This is our normal condition, normal operation condition. So when we do this experiment, we put condition 4 as a setup, as experiment control, as a control for this experiment. This is the intended setup. The 4 condition, water opening of the hand valve, followed by the hand half open, fully closed, and finally fully open, replicates the all possibilities that could happen to the hand valve and the corresponding effect to the solution supply. 3 tests are conducted for each condition, and each test is done using 10 product. Right? This is done to have a better reliability and more assertive data. So this is the results from experiment 1. So we have test 1, water open, test 2, half open, test 3, fully open, test 4, test 3 fully closed, and test 4 fully open. And we repeat this test 3 times. Right? So we noted that whenever the hand valve is water open, half open, or fully open, because of the delay in the flow, right, we will have alarm. The machine will alarm out. Right? It will create an alarm, and the operator can respond immediately. Right? The only time there is no alarm is test 4, which is the experiment control. The fully open is the standard control. So at that time there is no alarm because it is running fine. Right? So what does this tell us? So conclusion from experiment 1. The findings from this experiment is that the system triggered alarm and the processing sequence aborted immediately even when the valve is half open. From this experiment, it could be concluded that panel processing not possible without the supply of solutions. Next, we move on to experiment number 2. Design of experiment to check the formulated hypothesis. Experiment number 2. High humidity causing coating to evaporate. Conformity test method, use of air gun to simulate humidity. Findings, coating does not get evaporate. Conclusion, the induced high humidity does not evaporate the coating. This is the high level. Next, I go into detail of the experiment that was done. For the second experiment, which was conceptualized to test hypothesis 2, high humidity causing coating to evaporate, the conformity test method is to have 3 different test conditions. So, the type of test, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, we use CDA to blow on the product to check whether there is any evaporation.
What is CDA?
This is compressed dry air. Right? So we have condition 1 10 psi, condition 2 12 psi, and condition 3 14 psi. Okay. So when we test with 3 different, this is to the extreme level already. Right? So when we test out with this condition, next we use helium. Right? Same pressure setting. Test number 3 we use nitrogen. Right? With same condition. Test 4 we use hot air gun. Right? And test number 5, no inducement, meaning that it's a standard condition. So experiment is done with 10 products for each condition. Right? For the first condition, compressed dry air, CDA gun was used to spray on the newly coated panels that come out from the machine. 3 different settings used to get better data set point. The test was repeated with N2 and helium gas. The pressure was used for these ranges 10 psi to 14 psi. The reason for using different setting of pressure to create normal to extreme condition. At the same time, hot air gun is also used to blow on the product to create a potential rapid evaporation. For each condition, product with no inducement is included in the time cycle as to be the experiment control. Based on the experiment done, the following results were obtained. So results from second experiment, right? For all the tests that was done, right, with the different setting of helium, we did not see any evaporation at all, right? So zero evaporation. So what does this tell us? We can conclude that the outcome of this test shows that the coating does not evaporate even on extreme cases and remains intact on the final product, right? So no matter what kind of inducement that you use, it basically doesn't evaporate the coating. And this shows that the high humidity does not evaporate the coating. Not a single plate exhibit evaporation despite repeated tests and validation.
That means the humidity was not a factor in this case.
Yes, it can be ruled out. Next, my experiment number 3, abnormalities on the incoming panels. Panels from the affected line was running on parallel line without any issue. Alright, so in this company, we have 2 lines right, running the similar product. So if you look at this company setup, they have two lines running the same product, and if you want to do any conformity, so you can take this product, put it in this line, and take this product, put it in this line to cross check whether it's creating any problem. So based on this, we didn't see any issues.
So there is no issues in exchanging the machineries. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, we can eliminate the upstream process machines. So to go in detail, for the third experiment which was conceptualized to test hypothesis 3, abnormalities on the incoming panels, the conformity test method is by flowing products from the affected line on a parallel line without any issue. Background of this test is that company X actually runs its product in a conveyor that has 2 similar lines, meaning to say that the identical tools are set up in 2 lines parallel to each other. Upstream and downstream of this particular machine will be a setup of similar machines. It's an identical apple to apple. By carrying out this experiment, we could rule out the issues caused by the interaction of upstream machines. Products that are in the line prior to the issues are quarantined and used for this test. Results from the third experiment are shown in the next page. So basically what we do is, when we encounter the non-coating issue, right, what we will do, we will remove the panels from the upstream processes, put it aside, and then we will run this panel in the second line, right, to see whether this panel is coming out without any coating, right. So that's how we rule out. So results from the third experiment. This is how we swap the panels. Right.
Yeah, we don't have any changes. Therefore, we just go to the next one.
Yeah. Right. Third experiment conclusion. Based on the experiment done, can be concluded the line does not have any impact to the issue. When process flow is mixed, no interaction noted, and it shows the upstream machine does not have any impact. Next, we move on to DOE experiment number 4. Experiment number 4. Hypothesis 4. Failure on mechanical assembly parts. Okay, for the first one, encoder. Conformity test method, the encoder for the counter roller is shifted down from the intended secure position to simulate a failure mechanism. Findings: the shifted encoder prevent the applicator roller from coating the panels, hence the panel process without any coating. The shifted encoder prevented the applicator roller from coating, and such is affirmed that the shifted encoder could cause significant impact in the process, proper coating process.
Why it has been shifted?
This is part of our design of experiment. Let's say the encoder is faulty, or it came off from its position. We want to check, its position. So we want to check whether it's causing this non-coating issue.
Oh, okay.
So in more,
That means it was purposely dispositioned.
yes, shifted. So I'll show the pictures. Okay. So I will talk more about the encoder in my next slide, but before that I just want to say that mechanical failures hypothesis. So a part failure mode is the way which it fails physically. Often a part has only a few failure modes. The failure mechanisms that cause that can be many different kinds, and often multiple factors play a role at the same time. This include corrosion, welding of contacts due to an abnormal electric current, return spring fatigue failure, unintended command failure, dust accumulation, and blockage of mechanism. Seldom only one cause can be identified that creates system failures. The real root cause can be, in theory, most cases be traced back to the same kind of human error: design failures, operational failures, management failures, maintenance-induced failures, specification failures, etc. So basically, I just took a time to talk about the mechanical failures. What is mechanical failures? So some types of mechanical failures mechanism are excessive deflection, buckling, ductile fracture, brittle fracture, impact, creep, relaxation, thermal shock, wear, corrosion, stress corrosion, cracking, and various types of fatigue. Each produce a different type of fracture surface and other indicators near the fracture surfaces. The way the product is loaded and the loading history are also important factors which determine the outcome. Of critical importance is design geometry because stress concentration can magnify the applied load locally to very high levels and from which cracks usually grow. Over time, as more is understood about failure, the failure cause evolves from a description of symptoms and outcomes, that is, effects, to a systematic and relatively abstract model of how, when, and why the failure comes about, that is, causes. The more complex the product or situation, the more necessary a good understanding of its failure causes to ensuring its proper operation or repair. Cascading failures, for example, are particularly complex failure causes. Edge cases and corner cases are situations which complex, unexpected, difficult to debug problems often occur. So these two slides show the mechanical failures and what are to give more detail about what is mechanical failure. Right? So for this study, based on understanding of the tool and historical details, the following mechanical parts are identified as a contributing factor for the non-coating situation. So as I go through the mechanical failures, for this particular machine, these are the three parts that has been identified: encoder, bearing assembly, and metering valve. So why does this company use, why does this machine use encoder? Encoder is used to read movement of the roller and the bearing assembly drives the roller. Conformity test method that is designed to verify the encoder factor is critical in non-coating issue. The encoder for the counter roller is shifted down from the intended secured position to simulate a failure mechanism. Yes. So this is the position of the encoder. So in order for us to do the experimental, we remove the encoder and run products to see whether the non-coating could be simulated. So what we did here was, once the encoder is shifted, moved manually, the condition tested using 10 plates of products, and the result is noted. Sample size of 10 products selected for better validity. The 10 products is selected randomly from day-to-day production. The reason why the selection is done randomly is to eliminate the possibility of localized cluster sampling. The collected data is shared in the next page. From this table, it could be seen that once the encoder position is moved, the plate comes out with no coating. There were no traces of the coating material even under light. The shifted, we took the plate and have a look at it under the white fluorescent lamp, and there was no coating at all. So the shifted encoder prevented the applicator roller from coating the panels, hence the panel processed without any coating. The shifted encoder prevented the applicator roller from coating, and such is affirmed that the shifted encoder would cause significant impact in the proper coating process. So based on the 10 product sample that we did, all 10 came out without coating. So this is one of the findings that we have done.
Yeah, you want, I can give you 5 minutes.
Yes.
Break. Go to the next one. Next one is for bearing. Okay, we will discuss about bearing later. Temporarily we stop it for your break. 5 minutes break. Supply.